This this is bad. There is a game-breaking bug right now in Destiny 2 that has been plaguing countless people. I'm going to go over a top trending Reddit post right now. This has over 1,000 likes in under a day, so a lot of people have been experiencing this bug. You can see the gameplay that was shared in this Reddit post behind me here, where you're able to shoot your weapons and there's no animation, your abilities don't work. Let's jump right into it. Under r/Destiny the game, this is the top trending post for today. Strange, serious glitch happening across the game and no idea what causes it. So first off, they provide the video and you can see the gameplay behind me here playing if you want to know exactly what we're talking about. They then say this really needs attention as soon as possible, Bungie. I have seen other people talking about it, and Esoteric encountered it in the new dungeon as well. I have encountered it in a new dungeon, the Nether, the Pale Heart, and now in Lost Sectors 2. So what is this bug that everyone is encountering? Even I myself have encountered it just recently. Basically, just playing the game for extended periods of time makes the game completely deteriorate. Destiny 2 has some kind of like memory leak to it. I don't know what's going on, but if you just stay in an area for an extended period of time, the game tends to fall apart completely. We're talking about your fragments not working, your abilities not working, your weapons are glitching out, finishers not functioning properly. Yesterday I was doing solo flawless the dungeon, and I activated the boss phase, and the boss opened up for damage, but their animation stayed in the square. The first boss, right? The Shrieker boss, it just stayed as the square. So they had no crit the entire damage phase. So weird, right? This is a big problem. This continues to happen more and more, so much so that everyone's talking about it. Let me know in the comments if you have experienced this at all. Here's the list of all the things that can happen during this period of time. If you play Destiny 2 and you don't return to orbit within an hour or two, depends on it varies depending upon each person's experience. But if you don't return to orbit, this is what can happen to you. Perks and abilities stop triggering. Most noticeable with healing stuff like Devour, Cure, and Restoration. You'll notice this in the Nether. Small things are supposed to heal you, like anything like Crimson is supposed to heal you, Devour, and it does give you a little tiny chunk of health ordinarily, and you may not notice it, but after spending enough time in the Nether, you just won't get any of those healing functionality at all. The game begins to deteriorate, fall apart, and bug. Debuffs stop applying to enemies such as slow and so on. Glaives stop gaining shield energy on projectile hits. Weapons become invisible when switching to them. Any abilities that usually go into third person for animation, i.e. finishers and rifts, remain in first person with no animation. Mechanics and certain activities stop functioning. For instance, the new dungeon, the lenses do not light up the wheels when shining at them. And when this glitch is active, firing your weapon will cause the tracers or projectiles to come not from you, but from a location you were at previously. For example, I was just in a lost sector in Saros Harbor, and when I switched to my rocket sidearm, when I fired the rockets, they were launching from where I was standing a couple of minutes before. So the weapons are registering your last position or a position from several minutes ago. So this is obviously a very serious bug, Bungie. It needs to be acknowledged publicly so people can at least know it's on your radar and therefore will be fixed. Obviously, enough people have upvoted this. 1,000 upvotes in one day is pretty popular for a Reddit post on the r/Destiny the game. Let me know if you've had this experience, and make sure to upvote this video as well, so that way, hopefully this does grab Bungie's attention. The bug is very consistently reproducible. Just play for a slightly extended period of time without going to orbit or fast traveling. And then conversely, if you don't want to be affected by this bug, make sure you constantly go back to orbit so that way things don't affect you. Clearly, this is an issue if you're trying to, solo flawless the dungeon or anything. If you're trying to do an activity where you don't want to return to orbit, you might lose your positioning altogether, right? So that can be an issue where you can't always go to orbit. But if you can, do remember to go to orbit. And myself personally, after playing Destiny for like 5-6 hours, I just completely shut the game down and relaunch it, a fresh instance of it, because the game is getting really buggy. And the QA, obviously we talked about this before, how almost the entirety of the QA department was laid off in those mass layoffs that we talked about. And we're seeing the effects of the lack of a QA department from Bungie. The game itself is fundamentally falling apart. It happens literally every time on the third wave of the first encounter if you do it solo. Sometimes it happens even in a group too, but when it happens to me anywhere, I'm usually solo or in a group in a long activity like the Nether. Others on here have cited examples of it happening in groups as well though. I'm going to trigger it again tonight and record it so I have video evidence, but others have already sent you video proof. So until you acknowledge this at least, then I'm not sure what the difference would make. So Then Bungie themselves actually responds to this, and they say right here that could you send over some video links to show what you're describing? And obviously now they have the video link there. Would be of great help to the team if you posted a thread over on our help forum. So they want to have this be posted on the help forum as well. So obviously we got the video evidence. You can see the bug happening regularly, and it keeps going in and out. Like their glaive right now, it does have the proper animation, and then they continue to play the game. And as they swap to anything else, it's going to bug out altogether. And various different fragments and abilities are not proccing. Like for example, Devour is not proccing. They just threw their nade on that hive enemy and they have no Devour. And now they go to, kill this wizard here. Wizard dies just fine. And pushing on to the next part here. Okay. Eventually their gun is going to completely, see they have no gun. They're charging up a shot right here, and it like shoots a weird projectile that hits the wall. They're obviously shooting a queen breaker. Definitely a big issue, and if this grows, obviously it could be even worse as Destiny has more items added to it, as it grows as a larger file size. This could be an issue of it being a little too bloated potentially. I'm not sure if Bungie will give us a proper response to this, but I figured everyone should know about this, because if your game is just bugging out and being really weird, you need to go to Orbit. And honestly, if you're me, I'm just doing a full fresh restart in the game altogether to make sure that everything functions properly. But wanted to bring a PSA video, let you know that Bungie at least did respond and acknowledge it a little bit, and that this big bug is out there. That's a wrap on this one, though. Make sure to subscribe and smash the like button if you want to stay up to date on all the news in Destiny 2. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Later.